and welcome. I am Jan Jorgensen, of course, of the SOAR organization, sounding our authentic resonance. And sometimes I wish I would have pressed record earlier, because Sarah and I, who've known each other over social media and little snippets of SOAR, guided to make a center around music. And then today I get to see her and we are yakking away way before I press recording. And there is this sense of familiarity with this woman. She's grounded, she's musical, she's divinely orchestrated and guided. And her name is Sarah Boyd. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. And welcome to Brittany, because I'm in the middle of Brittany in France, and it's nearly my tea time, and Jan's just got up.
So fabulous. And I dare say I would rather be with you having tea time in Brittany, but after the pandemic, we're going to make an appointment together.
Brilliant. I look forward to that. So
you actually were born in Wales. And tell me something about your childhood. You moved to Belfast. What brought you into the realm of music, the spell of music, the joy, the ideation, and what led you into the anthroposophical arm of music? So
that's a lot of questions, and I will start backwards because music started later. Music didn't start till I was 50, and that wasn't yesterday. So before that, well, I had a childhood with a father who was a botanist. So nature was very big in my life, but with no spirituality that I would think of now, none at all. So I was searching, but I was given the eyes to see. I remember he gave a radio program called The Eyes to See. So eyes to see. So I later then developed ears to listen.
Your father did that radio program?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, he won an award for conservation in Ireland, because I lived in Ireland from when I was 3.
Which area in Ireland?
Sorry?
Which area in Ireland?
Northern Ireland.
Northern.
Yeah, Belfast, actually.
Belfast.
Yeah.
So nature has its own vibrational milieu, and it sounds like as a child you were in the wonderment of the natural balance of life.
Absolutely. I used to go out with him, with his students, and find things, and yeah, it was a wonderland. And I've now created my own wonderland here in Brittany, because we're in the middle of the trees. Beautiful. It's just green. I mean, maybe I'll get to turn this round before we finish, but it's just beautiful green outside. But in the meantime, I went to Steiner education because one of my children was very dyslexic. And in my search for education for him, that's what I found. So that led me to a concept of spirituality that I had no idea existed before. During that time, I was searching. I came across Transpersonal 1. I don't know if Transpersonal 1, 2, and 3 is something known in America. It was a weekend workshop, basically. And we did a meditation, and then I did a drawing. And the drawing I did was of hands raised up with gold light. And I didn't know what that meant. Oh, I'm getting tingles now. Anyway, I didn't connect that to anything to do with me at all, but it happened. And I later became a reflexologist. I've done that for 30 years now. So my connection with people was through the feet. Always through the feet. And I learnt so much from every person that came through the door. But it was always through the feet, and it developed into emotional work and subsequently musical work as well.
The beauty of the Waldorf work, and us having the eyes to see how healing it can be for our children, I as well walk through the door of a family-run Waldorf school for my son, who learned differently, and he began this special therapeutic singing And I watched and I started expanding my thoughts, my ideation of tone, of the Christed consciousness as a living vibration. And what I loved about what you just said is that none of it was forced or trying. You were following your intuition and you had the experience first. And it was a big question mark. When the gold emitted from your hands, that began an inquiry that led you to understanding energy, healing, music.
Music. Well, the music came a bit later because I was working as a therapist, bringing in different things, the psychotherapy, healing, Reiki, as one does. And then one day I went to a Steiner school fair and came across this little pentatonic lyre, tiny.
Yes, good start.
7-string, no, maybe it's 12-string. And I looked at it and I said, I have to have this. I have to have this lyre. So I was very fortunate to be living with a lyre teacher, which I had been ignoring up till that point. So then she started teaching me the lyre, and I quickly progressed then. But that was a moment of great importance when I saw that lyre, because lyres had been around me, but I hadn't paid any attention at all.
Yes.
So then it was time for me to learn the lyre. And that, in fact, took me all over the world playing. We ran the Celtic Lyre Orchestra with special needs people and did tours in Europe. And that was very, very, very special for me because I had had no contact with special needs people before that. It just hadn't happened. So there I was with these people. They were using cantillets, we were conducting them, and they were incorporated into the orchestra. So that was amazing. And then Lyre 2006 was a World Lyre Conference that Muggins here decided she would organize. It had been in America in New Hampshire the year before, and we were trying to do them every 3 years, and somebody said, oh, let's do it in Ireland. So we did, and there were over 200 people, 40 people came from Japan, and we took over a huge school, and it was an amazing event. It was exhausting, nearly killed me, but it was an amazing event. So that was major in my sense of being able to create out of my own thought process the design of it, along with Anna who did the music, but to design it, to do it. And to
I
do
have
the
often heard that the lyre can be associated with the human spine, the different, that our own bodies are like the lyre, and the lyre is the closest to healing pure tone in a real instrument. There was a book I read by Alfred Bauer called Chirophonetics, the healing power of sound on the bone and anatomy. And I think it's interesting, you were working with bones and stability and moving people forward. And now with the subtle tones, I myself worked with the lyre at the bedside with hospice patients to help them die. And you're helping them embody.
Yeah. But I've also played with people as they passed, and in some respects that is an ultimate goal, to be able to do that.
Why do you think the lyre is this specific instrument to be a healing tool?
Well, you said it, the pure tones. Can I just then say that, can I go back on my story? Just because I want to bring in the tones, because then I went to Hudson in upstate New York 5 times in 1 year to do what was called a Resonare course, which is music out of anthroposophy. And I have to admit that the music theory went away like this somewhere, because I never did music till I was 50. I mean, I'm an old, So, but I loved listening and playing with the tones and the intervals. Now, the next light bulb moment for me was when they played an interval. Now, we were 10 people in a room, and the interval was played over us, or either side. And then we drew what we could see. And in that moment, after that, over half the group drew similar colors and similar shape. And that to me was like, wow.
You know,
why were they doing that?
I've looked at many methodologies that can make sound visible. And those that are drawn to working with healing tone have synesthesia, which is the ability to see auric fields, to see grids, to see energy moving. So that is a simple test to confirm that all of you are using your interdimensional inner vision, and that confirmation helps you build on that skill. That's my opinion.
Yeah, okay. So then I went back home again, and I had this really connection with tone, and the connection with what tone would give us. So on several different levels now, obviously listening to a tone, just allowing one tone to go over our body and to be able to say what it felt like or say what it did to one is an amazing healing. Just to experience a tone and to experience, and to then to be able to say what it was or what it did or what it felt or draw it. That's the first level of healing, I think. To listen.
And it is so simple. And that's the word, listening. Rudolf Steiner said, listen for the tone, and then you release it with your voice or your instrument. And it is a living consciousness that you've brought into your dimension.
And what do we listen with? Do we listen with just our ears? Yeah.
I think it goes back to what your dad said, eyes to see and ears to hear. It is an ability to go beyond our normal senses. So what I'm hearing in your life path is when you saw that little lyre, there was something that said yes. And when you decided to create a healing center where you will be inviting other people in, where is that information coming from? Do you feel it in your body? Is it a voice? Because so many women right now are saying, use me. I don't know how to decide. So here you are, a person who, and there's been some blips in this path of getting to the center. So tell me your process. And it wasn't always perfect.
Well, I suppose that's why I mentioned the light bulb moments, because the excitement of drawing with a tone was so exciting that I wanted to do more of it. So each time something feels really exciting, like picking up the lyre, like hearing the tones, like my history of what I know of France, because I feel very drawn to France, and of course I'm here now, but that was a big decision. And I reckon that I was connected to the Cathars at one point. And I'll draw you to a book called We Are One Another. We Are One Another, about, maybe you know it, about reincarnated people from the Cathar time.
Absolutely.
So this is another thing that sits here as high energy, high motivation.
That's why I feel I know you. I do feel that people here using color, light, and music, we have come many times in history, and I feel that this is a very focused time to come together and meet. And I know people on the team because I look in their eyes and I say, Sarah Boyd, you're just there. You're in the ethers, and we're doing something, and we're trying to bring it down. And the Cathars protected the mystery of the divine feminine intuitive arts. And that's what we're bringing back. The lyre, healing, the golden hands.
I started out being very much in my male element. As you said, it was a very grounded male sense. And I developed my feminine through the work with people. That's why I said I learned so much from touching people, from healing people, and then my femininity grew. So I feel now that I can work more in line with both, but it feels quite strong. I am strong, so I think, yeah. But I want to go on with the tones because I came back after being in New York, learning about tones, and didn't know what to do with it, because basically I was a reflexologist and a psychotherapy sort of work, trauma work, energy work.
Wow.
And I didn't know what to do with the tones. And I was in Australia doing Lyre work there as well. And I came across a woman called Mary Massalos, who had written a book called 7-Tone Healing. And she was a psychotherapist and a Jungian and a violin player. Now the lyre's better. The lyre's definitely better. So she was doing 7 tones, archetypal tones from C to B. They all have their archetypal patterns. They have their archetypal colors, feelings. And you talked about the spine. And of course they connect to the chakras, which is a simple reason. But each tone has an archetypal sense to it, be it feminine, be it groundedness, be it, hold on, I've got a list here. I can never remember them. Okay, so yeah, the groundedness, nature, and a tone for courage and strength, tone for a more of a masculine sadness side. So each tone has an archetype, not only a color, as we know, not only a chakra, but also this emotional archetype. Now, if I was to play a tone, one tone for somebody very slowly over a period of time, they would maybe have a drawing for that tone, or they would be able to talk about it. Now, if they were in alignment with the archetype, that would be nice and comfortable. If it wasn't in alignment, it would be maybe a difficult situation for them to do. And then that can be talked about. And the amazing things you can learn if you can go through the whole process of having 7 drawings, which is a long time. Not everybody does that. Sometimes we only do 2. And they don't know what tones I'm playing. So you end up with 7 drawings, and then we can discuss it, or it can be talked about. It's an amazing insight into the person. And it's
like a window. It's like a musical window into how they operate, and you are tuning them up.
Yeah.
Like your lyre. They're out of tune and you're tuning them up gently you're using all of your skills together.
But you can also, I also lay the lyre on the body. So if the person's on the bed, you lay it on. And you talked about it being like the spine, but also, so you've got all these different levels. You've got the vibrations going into the actual bone structure. You've got the energy going into the chakras. You've got the almost mind-altering connection to tone. Yes. So it's a massive story. And one I'm now ready to pursue more. And you know, moving from Northern Ireland was a big job. And I don't know if you knew then, 2 years after that, this house burnt down.
Yes, that's what I said. You've had some challenges.
Yeah. So it's really made us strong now that we're back after that. We've got a lovely, lovely place. We can accommodate probably up to 8 people here in the row of house that we've got. And the therapy room will soon be ready. So,
you know, I talked to a woman yesterday who would like to welcome kindred spirits to her retreat home. It's called Soaring Spirit, and I believe it burned down twice. We are being tested. It's a pretty profound process, but I've always had this sense that you have such a passion for what you do in this space. It's like a passion that you want to share with other people. And so you've created this beautiful, I'm going to show pictures as we're speaking so people can see how gorgeous in Brittany, France it is. And the idea is SOAR stands in the middle to facilitate and just make a list for resonation of women who, oh, God, I just look at Sarah's picture or voice and I've seen her interview. And in 2022, can I come and work with you? You may have events by then, maybe working with other practitioners. In other words, you're making an anchor in the world for other people to move through. Now, these women that move through, I'm a specialist of voice, uncovering the voice, anthroposophical voice of Verbeck, and therapeutic training for 4 years with Thomas Saddam. So I would come. I used to play the lyre, but I couldn't do it. And you said you're not a singer. So do you see how we can co-create and learn from each other? That's the SOAR idea, to shine a light on Sarah Boyd and her passion for tone, and just look at you. Who wouldn't want to come and work with you? It'd be like heaven.
You make it sound very attractive, yeah.
Well, and then people come and work with me with making pure tones and changing reality. We are co-creating a new reality of a finer, subtle consciousness through this work. It's no small thing.
No.
You know.
And I know I'm also connecting more and more with people around here, because there are very special people here. And you talk about listening. I was told that doing that tone therapy work would help me listen. It would make me a better therapist. And when I listen to the French people talking, it's so hard to get what behind what they're saying, if you know what I mean, which is normal for when we're talking in the same language.
Yes.
So that's pushing me.
Yes.
But I'm meeting more and more people.
Excellent. Yeah. It's a stretch, and you will become more comfortable. You will expand and expand. You'll be working with local people, and they'll be rotating in your center and teaching. And then if other people come, maybe a local master will come, and you'll be the hostess. Mm-hmm. This is cross-pollination, and we all expand, and we're better for it. And even if we can't get on a plane and come, we can still do Zooms. We can have regular sessions with Zooms and meeting, and then bigger Zooms. There are so many exciting things that we can do right now, even with the pandemic. So now my question for you. What is the worst thing and the best thing about this stay-at-home time for you?
The best thing is that my vegetable plot is doing really well. No, I actually wrote some poems. I should really have sent them to you. The peace and the stillness, and being able to prepare the vegetable plot. That's the best thing. The worst thing, my grandchildren are in Northern Ireland. That's the worst thing.
We're like on that. My garden.
Yeah, no, I saw you. Yeah. No, that's the worst thing. I've actually quite enjoyed it, to be honest, because there were no expectations. I could just think and be in here.
Present, grow from the inside out.
Yeah.
But you know, just this morning I did yoga with my daughter in New York, and my grandson's right there saying, "Hi, Grandma."
Oh, that's lovely.
The whole
that's
class.
Lovely.
So it won't last forever. We'll be able to see them, and that's life. That truly is life.
But it's interesting, because I didn't expect to be like a full-time granny, and when I can get depressed about it, and then I think, do you know what? No, I'm not going to be depressed about it. I've got so much to do, so many other things to do, other people to meet.
Yes, I can't focus on the sadness of it. There's no need to. We're honest, communicate, and say this is it for right now. And again, we women are stepping up to lead, and we have to have suffered and mastered tribulation, because, I mean, that is the human condition, and there's going to be more. So we will be there to reassure people. I couldn't see my grandson for a year. It broke my heart, but how special it was then to bring them back in. So everything is for a reason. Now, we're just beginning setting up the center. We're just getting ready to finish our interview here, or talk. And I also wanted you to show them your lyre. But if you were to look into the future and say, this is the type of person or activity that I would like to invite, have you had a chance, because you're in charge of your center, setting that sacred space, setting how many people come, what you offer? And these are things I'm thinking of as well. Is it just a bed? Give that person space? Or when they come, will we take sacred ritual walks in the forest with gongs? So you tell me your view.
Hold on. I wrote it all down here earlier on.
I love your Irish accent. We are sisters.
Can't find the page. Anyway, okay, the first thing is to offer the peace and quiet and retreat in Brittany. It's like a retreat place. The second would be to incorporate going to local musical events and dances, Breton music. And the historic and sacred sites, yes, there's lots of places covered in it. And I would hope that there would be groups that might come. Maybe groups come from America. I mean, maybe you have a group, Jan, that will come here for 2 or 3 days or more and then move on somewhere else. Who knows?
I would love that.
I could see that happening. Individuals, yes, I have a cottage that has attached to this house that is on Airbnb at the moment. So that could be made available to any people. The studio workshop place, people could sleep in it on the floor. You know,
nice.
It's not going to be a 5-star hotel, but it'll be fun.
It sounds heavenly. It sounds like a star they're radiating in Brittany, and with your name on it, Sarah Boyd. So thank you for coming for this interview today. And I wanted to finish up with you showing what a lyre is. I myself have an alto solo Gärtner lyre. Did you know that?
I think I've seen a picture of it.
Oh my God, it's heaven. It's in its case resting. And tell us about your lyre and show us how you play it.
Well, I'm going to have to move this away.
Okay.
I don't know how you're going to see it all. That's it. I think it's 42 strings the last time I counted. 43, something like that. Can you hear me still?
Oh yes, perfect. Yeah.
So this lyre is made in Australia. As I'm talking, you can get an echo, so I'm going to cover the holes here. It's a soprano. So you used the word plucking earlier on, Jan.
And no, stroking. I meant to say
stroking. So I'll play a few tones and see what they come across like. How's it coming?
Heavenly heartstrings. Absolutely beautiful.
So a very good exercise with people is to let them listen to a whole tone from the minute it arises to the very end. And that sort of listening process starts then the developing of the listening.
It's such a restful place to drop into the tonal world. Well, thank you, Sarah. It made me a little sleepy.
Oh, I've got to do some more then. I'll send you a CD. Am I allowed to plug my CD?
Oh, I would love that. Yes, tell us about your CD.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. I'll send it to you later.
Okay. Also, do you have a website for your place there? Do you have a name for your place?
The cottage is Walnut Cottage.
Walnut Cottage. Well,
and I'm as we're still in the process of building the workshop, I will now make a Facebook page for the whole thing.
Excellent. I can't wait to see your name of your place, like a cupola. We call our place Legacy Cove because the water comes in like a little cove.
Looks gorgeous.
I can't wait to hear it, Sarah. Sarah Boyd.
Okay, well, that's a process that's going to go on. So
Thank you for being an inspirational, divine shard of light for everyone here today and beyond. Thank you, Sarah, for spending this time. I'm going to press stop now, but don't go anywhere, okay? Promise?